Hi again, welcome back to my channel, The Broken Hearted Homesteader. And today is Thursday, which is normally a tough topic day. And we will get into a little bit of a tough topic in just a second. But before that, I wanted to share some exciting news and share some things about how the homestead operates. I don't normally post a video at nighttime, so I thought that this would be a good opportunity to show you some of the things I use on the homestead that make my life easier. So the idea is to be as far off the grid as possible. So one of the things that is a need on the homestead is still being able to generate power. So I do that by using, I have two power banks, portable power banks, and they have a solar panel, just a very small solar panel, and it hangs around the corner there out where it can hit, the sun can hit it all day long. So it charges all day, and then it goes, the energy is stored in the battery box. And then at night, when I need to have lights or electricity, I can just turn them on here. And this is such a tiny little light, but it runs fine, and I've never run out of battery power. I normally only use the one light, and it's pretty short, the amount of time that I use the lights. I prefer to use the hurricane lantern, as you guys know, because then it has the citronella in it too, so it keeps the bugs at bay. So I thought I would share that with you, and I'll try to get a link for the battery bank that I use. I have two of the same kind that are powered and have solar panels with them, and then I have another two that are really tiny, and you can plug those in and they don't have a solar panel. So you can take them, sometimes I take them to Panera and I sit there and I drink my coffee or whatever, and I charge them up in the receptacle at Panera. And they don't take too long to charge, and they last forever once they're charged. So those are some things that we need to be mindful of when you're thinking about living off grid and trying to use as little electricity as possible. Obviously, for me in my homestead, I still am connected to electricity because I have the fridge, and that's a huge draw, which the battery banks that I have would not be able to support a whole mini fridge. Eventually, I would like to work towards having like a deep chest freezer that cycles on and off to keep things cold, and just using ice, but I'm not at that point yet. This is going to be a journey from living in my house to learning how to be self-sufficient and to live off the grid. And eventually, the long-term goal would be to have a piece of property somewhere that is in the middle of nowhere and really have to make or break it kind of deal. So this is kind of like my practice run, if you will. So I'm learning lots of things about how to survive without having to be part of the grid. So that's my lights and things that I do for power. I also have this cool charger, and it is solar powered as well. It has a solar cell here, so I can just leave this out in the sun all day and it charges the battery bank, and then you can charge cell phones or whatever using that instead. So okay, so let's talk about Tough Topic Thursday. I saw this post and I posted it to my Facebook page, and it says, today you could be standing next to someone who is really trying their very best not to fall apart. So whatever you do today, do it with kindness in your heart. So we don't know what's going on in other people's lives. And like, for example, yesterday I had something happen where some of my possessions that were important, papers and things like that, were gone through and were moved without my permission. And I like to keep things organized and know exactly where everything is. And so it caused a little bit of panic and a little bit of stress to have someone making decisions about where my stuff should be. And yes, I understand that some of my stuff is in storage, and so it is in other people's way from time to time. But just to think that, you know, I don't know what's happening to my stuff was really, really hard to deal with yesterday. And I had a tiny bit of a meltdown. Thankfully, my mom was there for me, as she always is, and helped me get back on the right track and not be a blubbering mess. So, and later than last night, I went to Panera to fill up my drinks for today. And on the way to Panera, I saw this guy who was obviously having some issues with his vehicle. And, you know, being a single woman, you never really know if it's a good idea to just approach someone that you don't know, especially. So I kind of just kept walking, and I had Luna with me, but she'd been cooped up all day because I've been doing a lot of cleaning and organizing of things. So she'd been cooped up, and she was kind of in a weird, excitable mood. So she wasn't in a good place to be talking to strangers. So I just kind of went on my way and went to Panera, and I filled up my thermoses. But on the way back, the guy was still there, and his truck was obviously stuck, and he obviously needed assistance. So I went up to him, and I asked him if there was anything I could do to help, if there was anyone I could call, if he wanted to use my AAA, because I wouldn't ever be without AAA. I love, love, love AAA. I'm happy to pay the expense for the yearly membership to know that if I get into a situation, or if I can help someone else in a situation, I'm happy to do that and call AAA to, you know, get them back in their car or to bump their battery or whatever. So I think it's definitely worth the membership. Anyway, I asked him if I could help, and the long and the short of it is he said, yeah, if you don't mind, you could call my mom who lives locally, and she could come and possibly help him tow the truck up out of this spot that it was stuck in. And he started giving me the phone number, and my phone recognized the number that I had dialed that number before. And I asked him, who is your mom? Because I've dialed this phone number before. And he told me her name, and it was like this amazing connection that the universe and the creator had brought into my life. So most of you are probably familiar with the app Nextdoor that helps neighborhoods be connected. And so I had actually met his mom on Nextdoor. She is a fellow Canadian. She has lived here in Tarpon Springs most of her adult life, but she is Canadian, and she is a nurse, and she's really knowledgeable about food for health, right? And so, like, I've started taking moringa, which is a tree that grows naturally. And so I have a small little tiny moringa bush, which I'm hoping will grow into a huge tree that I just planted in my backyard. and I have either moringa tea or you can eat the leaves, but I'll do a whole nother video about that another day. But anyway, so she is, her specialty is how we can eat for good health. And so we had talked on the phone a couple of times prior to last night, but we had never met in person. We had been planning to meet in person, but it just hadn't worked out yet. So it was amazing to get to meet her for the first time last night because of this connection with her son. And I have to tell you, like, the quote that I read to you about people trying to hold it together and doing their best to get through and not to fall apart. If I had to guess, I would guess that quite possibly he might have fallen into that category. And we didn't really talk about it, but I kind of got that vibe, and you just never know. And honestly, if he had met me like 4 hours before, I was on the verge. I was losing it, right? Because of the situation with my possessions. So you just never know what people are going through. And so if you can approach everyone you meet with kindness in your heart, that goes a long way to possibly making a difference in someone's life. And so I think that's really important. It's easy to be driving and someone cuts you off and you're like totally mad and angry at them, but you don't know. I have this thing now, when someone goes roaring down the street or cuts me off, I'm like, oh, maybe their mom's dying in a hospital somewhere, or, you know, like I try to think of the worst thing that could possibly be going on in their life, because it helps me to give them a little bit more understanding, a little bit of grace. And really, honest to Pete, they could just be a horrible person. I don't know. But I don't want to live my life looking at people like that. So it's helpful to me to spend my time and my energy thinking about how I can spread kindness rather than being angry at everyone. So that's my tough topic for today, that we just don't know when someone's having a vulnerable moment where their life appears to them to be falling apart, and just our kindness could really make a big difference. So what has been keeping me super busy, the organization and the cleaning and the planning that I've been doing, is to make sure that I am all ready, because if everything goes according to plan, knock on wood, I get to have Emma starting tomorrow. And you know, it's a really tough situation, and I try really hard to keep things positive here on my channel and not talk negatively about people if I can help it at all. So suffice it to say that going through a divorce is never easy, and a lot of times co-parenting through a divorce is very, very challenging and very painful. And that has been the case with this second marriage and with Emma's dad. With Alex, we had a period of time where the divorce process itself was very stressful and painful. But then after that, Alex's dad walked away, and we have never heard from him in 18 years. So while that has its own challenges for Alex, and we've had to really work through some of those issues, it really allowed me to give Alex a stability in parenting that he wouldn't have had otherwise. So for that, I'm super thankful. So trying to co-parent with someone who doesn't even live in the same town that you live in and lives 45 minutes away from you. And then having my car broken down, so I can't even drive anywhere to go and get her. It's been a really frustrating situation. So it's been over a month since I've been able to see Emma, and I hate that. It really, really bothers me. So starting tomorrow, I get to have her here with me on the homestead, and I'm hoping she's going to stay at least my birthday's coming up, so hopefully enough days to get to my birthday, and maybe even more than that would be great, but we'll see how it goes. I'm just excited to have her here. So I've been getting ready and trying to have everything in place and think of fun activities that we can do together and all of those things. So anyway, this video is getting super long, and it's after 9 o'clock my time, which means I am about to turn into a pumpkin any second. I have to get up. I've started teaching in the morning. I was doing after school tutoring. I teach English and reading and things like that. So I was doing after school tutoring with children until the end of the school year. So now I've gone back to my other company where I teach mainly adults English as a second language. So I've started doing that really early in the morning. So I need to get up like at 4:30 to start work tomorrow morning. So that means I have to get into bed quick because 4:30 will come super early. But thank you so much for listening to me ramble on. This video has covered so many different things, and I apologize that it wasn't as concise as I had hoped it would be. But hopefully you will find something in this video that you can use in your everyday life. If nothing else, remember about kindness and how we approach people. That's always the most important thing, for me at least. And I hope it will be for you too. So I hope that you have a fantastic night. If I don't post in the next couple of days, I hope you'll understand that I really want to be able to focus and just have an amazing time with my little girl and enjoy being together. So I will catch you when I catch you. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, guys. Bye.